Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmach Technologies, and welcome to this Tuesday morning session of our show, which is Akulmach Nation. And before we start our discussion today, um, let me invite my friend from UK, Mr. Naval Goon.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. And the news of the world is COVID and vaccination. But we're not going to touch that today. We're going to touch something that's far more important, and that's the question of communication.
Yes, Naval. In fact, the topic of discussion today, which I feel is important for our viewers, is taking a cue from what happened in the Capitol Hill, where the social media, especially the Twitter, played a role of instigating certain mob, and they went inside and created a ruckus inside the assembly of United States, and then subsequently. Mr. Trump's accounts were banned for life. Various social media players announced that he will not be allowed to put any update, either tweet or Facebook update or something like that. Probably Instagram also. At the same time, WhatsApp now, which is part of Facebook, has announced their new privacy policies. And the way they have announced is that when you look at your WhatsApp to see a message, there is a pop-up which is visible to you, and then it says that kindly review and accept. So in most cases, it is like an auto suggestion in our mind today that if we see a privacy policy, we just say, okay, go ahead and let's do it. But this time, I think it makes sense to read them carefully. And what has happened is WhatsApp now wants to integrate their platform with Facebook platform, and the ownership is with Facebook anyway. And they want to leverage WhatsApp, which is connected with the mobile phone, as a choice platform for their business application. And because of that, Facebook will get access to your business connections, what you talk to them, who are your people with whom you're doing business, what sort of discussions you're doing with them. If you're using WhatsApp as a transaction platform, so how much money you're transacting, to whom you're sending money to, from where you're getting the money, all this information will be tracked by Facebook. And the idea is that Facebook would like to go to the next level where you actually need not create a website. If you are a small business, then you can use Facebook platform to run entire thing. I mean, you can have your accounts on the web page. You can also have your bank account linked with Facebook, and you can pay and receive money from using WhatsApp. So I think the world is moving that way, and what I see is that the chain reaction of this will impact all of us, and that is why I wanted to bring this as a discussion point. And I'm sure you're also aware of these things. So, what is your opinion on this?
Well, it's an interesting transition, let's call it, because let's face it, everyone's moving into the digital world. All of our communication, whether it's bank transfers, physical discussion, passing messages from one person to the other, this is all about the speed of communication. And particularly in a business arena, we want that to be faster. We always want it to be faster. We don't want to slow down the opportunity. We want to make it crisp, clean, and clinical in many respects. I'm in two minds, frankly, over the issue of um, what Facebook and WhatsApp are doing. I mean, most people knew that WhatsApp was part of the Facebook arena anyway. Um, for the majority of people that I know, they just use it as a communication media. So you and I, for instance, you're in India, I'm in the UK. We tend not to use it much for voice, but we send messages backwards and forwards. If any of those messages were intercepted by Facebook, would it make a massive difference to our business? Absolutely not. So it's an issue of what do you do in these media, and not necessarily what is it stopping you doing, with these new rules. And you're absolutely right, CK. Most people these days, and I'm guilty as well, it will say, "Will you accept cookies on this site?" And I mean, who is going to go through that website and actually click out the cookies that put the privacy rights? I just want to see the website. So giving them the cookie access, what does that actually mean? Be honest with you, if I'm just looking for a short period of time on there, it's just giving them feedback as to what pages I went onto. So it's giving them artificial intelligence that they can perhaps improve their offering. So, when it comes to cookies, be honest with yourself, everybody, who actually says no? I'm not going to I'm not going to be a part of your cookie regime, because if you say no, you can't see the site, you don't get access. So everyone clicks on yes. I'd want to go back to the fundamental parts about what this is, about the communication media we're talking about here, because communication is the lifeline of any business. You immediately get feedback from your customers, from your team. I mean, I know so many people that use WhatsApp as a team media. Is it secure? Well, it's as secure as they need to make it. I know some big IT companies that use WhatsApp. So they believe it's secure for what they do. And this is the issue. Well, how do you use these media? And let me just ask you a question. I mean, I'm on a number of WhatsApp groups around the world, some pretty powerful, some just chat rooms. I've noticed the chat rooms all say, oh, we need to go to Telegram. Oh, we need to go onto Messenger. We're not going to let Facebook take over control of our business. These are just chat rooms. Now, I'm sure, someone out there is going to say, yes, but it's data, it's valuable, it's your personality, and they're stealing it. Well, if you're on Facebook already, they've probably stolen everything they need to steal, frankly. And we do rely upon these platforms, to be ethical. And I'm sure you've seen um, most governments around the world, certainly the UK, have been very critical about these social media platforms, closing people down for propaganda. I mean, the whole ISIS arena, months or years ago, the government was very critical about people being groomed through social media. And, you shouldn't be, the social media platforms shouldn't allow this type of grooming, because it's unethical. So I've passed a few things back to you as ever, CK. So have you seen a lot of people on the WhatsApp arena suggest Telegram, or there was another one that was suggested that was closed down actually last week because of its propaganda? The funding was pulled. Have you seen people just suggest another platform to go onto? In other words, in desperation to get to something else that perhaps isn't controlled?
Well, that's the thing, Naval. I think sometimes we humans behave like monkeys and start following others. And for free, people are not even paying to participate in this false propaganda. So suddenly there is an influx of a lot of new connections. A lot of my connections are now joining Telegram. Every day I see 20 new connections because Telegram has a feature where it says that one of your connection has joined Telegram. So that's how I know that earlier there were only like one person in like 3 months I would see a pop up, but now every day 20 to 30 people are joining. I am seeing that. But I think you're absolutely right when you say that since you are on the digital platform, and I think it's not new. I mean, it started with banking. The bank knows exactly where you live, what is your number, how much money you got, where you're transacting. All that information is available with the bank in their database. And you can't hide. If you swipe your card to buy expensive mobile phone, everybody starting from bank to IT department to the government of India knows. Not only that, the mobile company also know your IMEI number, so they know exactly which mobile is with you. So I think it's just a myth where people are just spreading the false news that hey, get out of WhatsApp and go to Telegram, and then do what? You know, we were using WhatsApp to communicate with each other, like you and I do many times. And the great news in India is that from 1st of January 2021, all voice calls have been made free across the country, and that is the the effect of social media, because people are not using voice calls anymore, they're using WhatsApp calls, which runs on the internet. So the technology is now diverging towards sort of centralization. And I think you made a very good point of false propaganda, where the government of UK is very critical about spreading false news and using the social media to spread, false narrative. So I think these are all going to help in that, because if you say something, you better be responsible for it. So if you say something, you can be tracked now. And that is the exact reason in India, because India has been suffering because of terrorism for last 3 to 4 decades. In fact, India was the first country to get affected with terrorism. At that point in time, the world did not believe, but now it's a reality. The terrorism is there. So the government of India tracks all these groups who spread false narrative and shut them down. So they have created the legal systems to make sure that. So now WhatsApp getting integrated more seamlessly into Facebook. And what happened in the Capitol Hill, all those guys who started the false narrative which led to the seize of Capitol Hill are now arrested. And we had a little situation in India where people put mask. This happened last year. They put mask on their faces, and they created arson in small part of state last year. But all of those people who were participating with the mask on, they were identified using some advanced facial recognition techniques. And this is exactly is happening in Capitol Hill. So people applied some color and paint and mask, and then went on to create arson inside the Senate of United States. They are now caught. So all this is happening now. So I think I fully agree with this move where they integrate Facebook, because think the positive side. Facebook is now going to emerge a better platform, better than running your own website, better than doing your own marketing campaign, better than using your phone. Now you can integrate everything, and you have only one connection, and you do everything through that. So I think it's so good for 40 to 50% of the population of the world, I think.
I mean, it's interesting to say that you think it's a good move. I don't disagree with that, actually. I think this is progress. I'm on Facebook. I'm as transparent as you can see. Um, as you well know, we're on here. We're pretty transparent with what we're saying on here. Do we get it right all the time? No. Do I stand by the decisions I made yesterday? Yes, unless something else has changed. And if something's changed, well, then I reserve the right actually to go back and make an adjustment. It's called being human. We're not always right, and the context changes. Well, the context has changed in WhatsApp. The context has changed. As simple as that. And so, what has it done for you? And I think you just need to ask that question. So rather than run like the other rabbits that are in headlights currently and rushing off from one platform to another one, um, just think about perhaps what what the intention was here. And as you say, their Facebook are looking to be a one-stop shop. What's wrong with that? I mean, Amazon are looking to be a one-stop shop. Airbnb are looking to be a one-stop shop in the hotel arena, but they recognize, all of them recognize there's competition. So now here's the opportunity. Maybe there's a view for competition. But the key thing is we need to be one thing that comes out of this is communication's important, and we are humans, and we thrive on good communication. Lots of people thrive on bad communication. What you think is bad and what I think is bad may be different until we have a discussion about it. But just like anything else, if you go back thousands of years and you're in your little village and you've got 50 people in your village and the next village is 20 miles away, right, which in essence, because of the surrounding vegetation, is probably a day's trek from one village to the next. You're going to be protective about your village because you don't know what the other villages are doing. You don't know whether they're friendly or they're foe. And until you have that communication level, you don't know what that is. So you put up barriers. And that's what's happened over time. We build walls, we build barriers, and now actually where we are is all of those walls are tumbling down. Just like the Berlin Wall tumbled down, last century, other walls are tumbling down. We need to be resilient around what's happening out there. We need to stand back and say, what's it doing for me? How's it affecting me? Otherwise, we might go back to the days of the 1930s, where we've seen films made of the Hitler arena burning all books that disagreed with their mentality, with their thought process. I mean, can you imagine, going to the New York Library and just, Trump there pulling out all of the library books that don't agree with his methodology and burning them? I can see you laughing. It's comical, It's just not going to happen. And that's the point about communication. It never will happen. So I think the calling we still need for all of these platforms out there is to be ethical, to be transparent. Let people see what you're doing. Tell people what you're doing. Because just like anything else, if Facebook and WhatsApp's theory is we're going to make it easier for you, and actually it's not just a book of faces, it's really a business opportunity, and we want to make business seamless for everybody in one controlled arena because we can't trust anybody else, then if that's what they're doing, say it. And then we'll see what's happening.
Naval, in fact, I cannot less agree with you on this one, simply because the heavy lifting is being done by the social media platform itself. So, issues related to copyright, they can track it instantly. If you copy something from something else and put your name and logo on top of it, the Facebook has a technology which will not allow you to post it. So gone are the days where you identify all that, then you file a case in the court, then the court will then call the convict and you, and then the judgment will be given. So it in an instant it can be done. So any copyright, any music. So I think this consolidation will promote the originality among people and also accountability. Now using WhatsApp, you can do your communication for free. You can reach out to thousands and thousands of people for free. You can create your website in Facebook, a business website. You can then create your marketing campaign, and then you can use it for text or voice or combination of both to communicate with your client. And interestingly, you can also set up automatic support calls, because now you have a very powerful tool, so you don't have to really increase your overheads by hiring support staff. Or in your case, for example, in UK, there are a lot of businesses being sent to India in terms of call center. So I think that can be prevented now. I'm not feeling bad about it, but I'm just being very propagate of the latest technology. So from that point of view, I'm saying that it affects everyone. So all these new technologies are available, and it will also promote accountability. So you're not supposed to say wrong things. You're not supposed to say false, spread false news. You're not supposed to set a false narrative. I think All these measures will help in doing that, because you make a law, that is one thing, but then if you can prevent it in the first place itself, that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and you've said things there that I wasn't aware of. So it's incredibly feature and benefit rich. But I think it comes down to the bottom line is this isn't for everybody. All of these even picking up making a phone call, if indeed you make phone calls these days. As you said, India have made all phone calls free, for the very reason that actually people weren't using the network. So all I'm saying is progress happens. Organizations as big as they are, like Facebook, like Amazon, etc., will change the way that they operate over time. The thing that you need as an individual, you need to think of, how's it affecting me? Am I going to listen to what these influencers are saying to say this is a really bad news, you need to get off this platform really fast, or other influencers that are saying, just use the platforms? The point is there's going to be a happy medium for you, and it's now it's time for you to make the decision. It's as simple as that. I'm struggling with the words here because this is about your resilience, your personal resilience, your business resilience. Do you even know what you do and where you do it? But I think this change in WhatsApp, because it's been all over the place, been all over the media, just like this new app that's come out, Clubhouse. It's been all over the media, and you hear there's 1,500 users at one point were on Clubhouse, and someone had valued it at $100 million. Well, how can you make some ridiculous valuation for something that's been out there for less than a month? We're in the .com digital arena again. So, just be smart, be careful, go onto the platforms and realize what it means for you. And a lot of the other things is, of course, is I do quite a bit of business in the UAE, in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Dubai, you can text on WhatsApp. You can't have a telephone call. You have to go onto another medium to have a telephone call, or come onto Zoom or something to have a conference call, because the Dubai authorities banned the telecom element of it, physical peer-to-peer speaking. I don't know why they've done it, frankly, because this is a government issue. They're the ones that have banned it. And it's going to be similar around the world. And, governments are going to ban apps, as in India. Government banned a number of apps that came out of China. Was that political, or was that for business reasons? Frankly, I don't know. And because I'm not that interested in it, I'm not really bothered. I mean, those apps have gone. TikTok's gone. TikTok's still around in other parts of the world. So I think my comment to everybody today is just look at who you are and what you're doing and where you're doing it. And if someone changes their modus operandi, look at what they've done and say, does that make any difference to me? Don't be like a lemming and jump off the cliff, move all of your platform to another platform, because the likelihood is on the other platform, you've rushed into it, you've not really looked at it and see what it does, and it may not have the benefits or features that you need. So you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. So the thing is, be resilient. Just look at what's happening.
Absolutely. In fact, we must trust the technology. I don't think our connections and our work will be looked at by unwanted people. It is completely encrypted. Facebook is encrypted. Your WhatsApp is encrypted. So when you send messages using WhatsApp, a third party cannot see. There is a due process of law. If somebody wants to get access to your profile and your messaging, they have to follow the due process of law. I think that is all taken care. So the good news is I have shifted, Neville, and all my connections have already synced into Facebook. Now I'm trying to see what next I can do with that. So I'm at that stage where I'm trying to see if I can leverage it somehow. Anyway, the platform will kick in February, and everyone will be mandated to migrate to Facebook. So I've already done that. I'm up in the game early on, and let's see. I will keep visiting on this subject, Naval, and we will discuss this more as it happens.
Good stuff, CK. And everybody, just the message for today from me, for what it's worth, just be resilient. Build up your resilience. And the stronger you can make it, the easier your life's going to be.
Thank you, Naval, for finding time discussing this very important subject today. We will catch up with you again on something very interesting.
Take care, CK. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.